guys, welcome back to Crafty Wife's channel. On today's video we are making costillas de res and salsa verde. So I'll show you guys the kind of meat that you'll need. So I have the chuck short ribs and English cut costilla de res para asar. So they are tablitas, and now I'm clean them and then I'll show you all the ingredients we'll need. I cleaned my hands just before getting to my meat. Now I'm just going to rinse off my meat and detach some of the ice that was stuck on the meat. But it's very important you clean your meat before using it. So I'm going to cut it just like this in small chunks. So I made 4 pieces and 1 costilla. And I'm going to repeat the same process on all of them. Costillas do tend to be fatty. You will see a lot of oil when you're cooking. That's normal. You can just drain the oil. Okay. I did have a comment on one of my videos that I sometimes mix my English with my Spanish. It's not my fault. I am so used to talking Spanglish all the time that I don't even see it as a problem, because everyone I speak to or talk to mainly talks Spanish and English. So sorry if it bothers you. You can exit if you don't like. And we're going to come over here and we're going to turn on the stove, get our pot. I don't know why the light is so dark in this kitchen. Like, the light is already on, but it seems so dark here. I do have my window open, but it always just gets so dark in here. So I have 4 jalapeno peppers, 2 onions, and we're going to grab tomatillos. We are going to use around 10 medium to small tomatillos. Oh, and I forgot, you'll also need some garlic. I am using this fresh peeled garlic that I bought from Aldi. But these are the 4 ingredients you need for your salsa. Now I'm going to remove the skins from the tomatillos, and I'm going to wash them in warm water, getting rid of that stickiness layer that the tomatillos tend to have. And I'm going to cut them in half so we can char them on the grill. I have my cast iron skillet on. That's where I'm going to char my veggies for my salsa. I lightly oiled my cast iron skillet before using it with some olive oil. You can use as many peppers as you would like for your salsa. You can use jalapeno peppers, serrano peppers, but I ended up using 6 jalapeno peppers since jalapeno peppers are not that spicy. And I lightly coated the top of my veggies with some olive oil. And on the other side here of my pan, I added some canola oil to my pan so we can start frying up my costillas. The stovetop for my costillas is on high heat right now, so the oil will splash everywhere. So I'm just cleaning up my stovetop. This is a habit I always have. This is why I have so many burn marks. So I'm just going to let that fry and release extra oils. Now I'm going to chop up half an onion and char that as well for my salsa. I am using 4 garlic cloves for my salsa as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's been about 5 minutes and my tomatillos and my peppers are charring up. My cast iron skillet is on number 8 on my stove. After 10 minutes of cooking my costillas, I put a lid over the top of my pan so my meat can cook evenly and all the fatty oils will come out of the meat. Grab a separate bowl, and I'm going to add in all my peppers, my tomatillos, garlic cloves, all in one dish. I'm going to remove all of my veggies and put them into one bowl, turn off my stove, and I'm actually going to check on my meat. As you can see, there is a lot of oil in my pan that was released from the costillas. Now I'm going to show you how to remove the oil. I just take it over my sink and lightly tip over my pot to get rid of the excess liquid and the fatty oils. Once you have drained out all of the excess oil that came out of the meat, you're going to put it back on the stove and keep frying them so they can fully cook. I still have my stove on high heat. That was inside of me. Now I'm going to start slicing my onions so we can put them in with our costillas. And this is the way I like to cut them. They don't need to be perfect sizes, but this is how my meat is looking right now. It is fully cooked and it's ready for the sauce to be poured in. All my peppers and my tomatillos and my onion and garlic in here. Now we are going to put them into the blender, just like this. And what I like to do, instead of using water, I like to use chicken broth. So chicken broth here, you can just use water, but I like the extra saltiness that the chicken broth puts into our salsa. So I'm going to add in half of the chicken broth, and the other half we're going to use for our rice. So I put half. Now we're going to start adding in our seasoning. About 2 teaspoons of chicken flavored bouillon. Probably going to add more chicken flavored bouillon. I'm going to use some Creole seasoning. You can use any other type of seasoning you have in your pantry. You don't have to use these if you don't have these. You can season with whatever you want. About 1 teaspoon of Creole seasoning. Now we're going to cover and blend. Okay, so now we're going to turn this off. I'm going to bring my salsa. We're going to start seasoning our meat. My meat has fully cooked. There's not a lot of oil. That's because we did release all the oil. I'm going to use some salt, some chicken seasoning. Also going to use some ground cumin, about a half teaspoon of all of these. Alright, so we have all our seasonings. And I really like my meat very flavorful, so I do like to season my salsa as well as my meat. Alright, now it's time to add in my sauce. I'm going to cover this for about 3 minutes. Let it come to a simmer, and then I'm going to add in my onions. So once I let my salsa simmer in with my meat, I'm going to add in my onions. And the onions will get softened very quickly. So all you gotta do is, onions will soften up just by themselves. I'm going to wash my cilantro. Cilantro just like this. This is 1 whole head of cilantro, and I'm going to add it in just like that. Okay, so for my rice, I'm going to add in some olive oil. Dice up 1/4 of an onion. I will be roughly chopping my onion and adding it straight on the oil. Once I saute my onions for about 30 seconds, I'm going to add in my rice. I have 2 cups of rice, and the trick to making the perfect rice is you make sure that your rice stays nice and glossy. So add in as much butter or oil, just enough to make your rice nice and glossy, but don't drown your rice in oil now. My preference is always cooking a serrano pepper next to my rice. I like to pick the pepper out once we're done eating and when the rice is ready. Now I'm going to add in 1 packet of sazon con azafran, and this will make the coloring of my rice orange. and also partially season my rice. My stove is set on medium to low heat. You do not want to burn your rice. I will be adding 4 cups of chicken broth into my rice. Now I'm going to season with chicken flavored bouillon. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of chicken flavored bouillon. Once I add in my seasoning, I taste my broth, and if it's to my liking, I just cover for 12 minutes. I had some beans in the fridge from yesterday's dinner that I had stored, and I'm just going to refry them for one of our sides. My refried beans are done. My rice, salsa here on the side, and my costillas and salsa verde. Look how bomb these look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you did, make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel to be notified every time I post a new video. Bye guys!